Coming to you from the Yard Dawgs Podcast studio. A show for the fans, by the fans. Talking all things Cleveland Browns, from our mic to your ears. With your hosts, Jason Hand and Mikey P.
Yes, you are now in the yard. Welcome to the Yard Dawgs Podcast, a show for the fans, by the fans. This is season 4, episode 128. I'm your host, Jason Hand. The Yard Dawgs Podcast is brought to you by Network 216. To check out all of our Ohio sports content, check out our Network 216 YouTube channel. And to my right, my partner in crime, the one and only Mikey P. You can find him on Twitter at MikeyP422. Buddy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. It's we've been on a little hiatus for a little bit when we call it the summer season, and you got the vacation a little bit. I was hanging with the fam. So I'm back, ready to talk a little Browns. We've had a few things trickle out in the news recently. We're getting ready to get into training camp season, but I'm back. I'm excited to be back better than ever.
And you got a new background.
Setup? I do. I got a new background, new laptop, so excited to be talking Browns again and share off some of my this is my Browns corner basically behind me.
Well, it's looking good, Mikey P. And already the guys are checking in. I see MC Lawrence says, finally, where have you all been? We've been on a little hiatus, for 3 weeks? We've been on vacation. I don't ever go on vacation ever. You can ask my wife. And finally this year, the stars aligned and went to Florida for a long vacation there in Tampa. So that was a lot of fun, and just got back this past weekend. So just kind of spending the first part of this week getting back in the swing of things, and here on the Yard Dawgs Podcast. And Mikey P, I know you've been busy doing projects around the house as well. Yeah,
projects around the house. I did some stuff outside the other day, took down a canopy or a wooden, I think pergola is what you call it. My wife hated it, wanted it gone. We made it gone. Did it on probably one of the hottest days of the year. So burned a few calories. Doing that for sure on Sunday out there sweating bullets, but I always get a little queasy this time of year. I don't know, it's something about my stomach. Like I go back and remember what it was like having football practice this time of year. It's so brutally hot, man, and just
dude, it is so sick hot out there, man. Sick hot. I've always heard that after 4th of July weekend, like after 4th of July, football comes real quick, and it's true. I mean, here we are. It's almost we're like approaching the end of July. It's almost August. The Browns are playing in Hall of Fame weekend in 2 weeks, something like that.
16 days to be exact. August 3rd.
16 days. The Browns will be playing the Hall of Fame game. Joe Thomas will be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I'm actually wearing his shirt today. Actually, where is that? There it is. By Homage. Nice shirt here, Joe Thomas shirt. So I'm excited. That's actually my next trip, Mikey P. And I know you're going to Cleveland as well for training camp, but I am flying to Cleveland on August the 2nd, and my dad's flying from Arizona to meet me in Cleveland. So me and Pops, man, we're going to spend like 4 days in Cleveland and Canton. I know it doesn't make sense, but we actually decided to fly into Cleveland, and we have an Airbnb right across from Progressive Field. So we're going to stay there on Wednesday night. We're going to go to our steakhouse that we went to, Red. You remember?
Okay. That's a good one.
We're going to go to Red Wednesday night. And then we're meeting Brian Music in the Flats, dude.
And you're going to meet him at Denny's?
Well, that might end the night on Wednesday. I know that they do stay open late, so maybe we can get Brian to put on his Denny's robe while we go out, and then maybe we can visit the local Denny's. Sure. I mean, yeah, I'm open to that.
I mean, he's got to have some pull with the local Denny's, I would assume.
And Brian Music is checking in now. He says, "What's up, homies?"
It sounds like Sounds like a good time.
It will.
Hit Brian up too when I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian's gonna, the last time my dad went to Cleveland was years ago when the flats was really happening back then. But now I know a lot of people migrate to right in the downtown Cleveland because there's a lot of bars there now. But my dad will be happy to know that we're going to be partying in the flats with Brian Music. So we're gonna do that Wednesday night, and then somehow we're gonna get to Canton on Thursday for the Hall of Fame game. And then somehow get back. I don't have that all ironed out yet. And then Friday night, we're going to go to the Guardians game with Brian Music and Charles Shin. I don't know if you know him, but he's an old friend of mine on Twitter. He's the artist. In fact, if you look over my shoulder, my left, my shoulder right here. Yeah, I've got the nick.
Right?
I'm sorry?
Isn't his handle like Jet Fighter Guy?
Fighter guy, yeah, 24. Yep, yeah. Good dude. But he's the artist. He's drawn a bunch of Browns artwork. He sent me the Nick Chubb over my shoulder there. So we're gonna meet him on Friday night and go to the Guardians game, and then Saturday we're gonna wake up and somehow get to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Canton again, and then somehow.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I don't know. Uber might get a ton of business this weekend.
Yeah, and then you're and Brian already said that Denny's is game. He's got $100 Denny's gift card, so it sounds like Denny's is on. If you don't eat too much at the Red Steakhouse, Wednesday night.
Well, I will eat a lot at Red Steakhouse, but as you know, Mikey, I like to partake in liquid, a lot when I'm in Cleveland. So I'm sure that around 2:30 Denny's will probably be, sounding pretty good.
Yeah, a few Maker's Marks or two,
Mm-hmm.
Or a few old fashioned too.
Yeah. So yeah, Pops is looking forward to it, and so am I. We're gonna have a great time in Cleveland for 4 days.
That's awesome.
And then you're also going to Cleveland, right?
Yeah, I'll be there the 6th. So I'll actually be in Cleveland like the 16th through. Technically, I'll be in Ohio the 16th through the 22nd. We're driving up. We're driving in Wednesday. We're driving up Wednesday, and then Thursday night we'll be over at the Grindhouse in Berea for some festivities with one of the local Browns chapters there. Friday night we'll be at First Energy Stadium for the dinner with all the Browns backers clubs, and it's dinner with Joe Thomas this year. So looking forward to that. Getting some mini helmets or two signed by him, and then Saturday we have an event over at the Hall of Fame. So I'll be back in Canton, and then I'm going to stay with my family at that point who actually live in Canton. But my plan is I'm going to the Guardians game Saturday night. And then Sunday we'll be at the Browns training facility for training camp on Sunday. And then I'm going to hang with the fam pretty much after that, all of Sunday and Monday, and then drive back Tuesday. Man,
so it sucks that we're going to miss each other. The last time we were in Cleveland, we were together, right? We had a great time watching a couple Guardians games live, and of course watching the Browns game. The Browns game wasn't too good, but we still had a good time. But sorry we're going to miss each other. But the Yard Dawgs podcast will be represented in Cleveland for most of the month of August. Let's just say that.
Definitely.
So if you're watching the show right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, welcome to the Yard Dawgs podcast. Interaction is always welcome. I'm seeing comments rolling in from MC Lawrence. What's up, MC Lawrence? Brian Music. Mitchell Metz is
Drew in Brick City.
Drew in Brick City.
TV.
Yeah. Oh, he says, okay. All right. Yeah, Leprechaun TV has some opinions about we'll get into that, about maybe the color scheme of the uniforms and the helmet. We're definitely going to get into that, Leprechaun TV. So definitely hold that thought there. But lot of warm comments. A couple of people said, where have you all been? But we are back, baby. Before we get into our first segment, let's roll out our homage plug. The Yard Dawgs Podcast and Network 216 are proud partners with Homage, the apparel company. If you haven't tried Homage yet, you're definitely missing out. Homage is always coming out with on-point, cutting-edge apparel. Showing support for your team doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg, blah, blah, blah. As a bonus, if you to get special discounts, if you shop on our link at Homage, you'll get a special discount. So you can support the show, support the network, do it in style, shop for all of your favorite teams. It's not just Browns. There's MLB, there's college football, there's NHL, there's movie shirts. I mean, there's like a wide variety of Homage gear. As we know, the new Browns logo that just came out a couple weeks ago, guess what? Homage
already on there.
It's already on there. I actually just ordered it, man. I'm excited for that to come in on my doorstep so I can wear that shirt. But yeah, check out Homage. Find the link on our Twitter page at Yard Dawgs Pod. That's about it. So let's get into our first segment, Mikey P. White helmets.
Real quick before we get into that.
All right.
Just talking about Homage. Let me just share my Homage story.
Okay.
So I ordered some stuff online. I asked my wife for the first time. I said, "Do you want a shirt?" Because I've always been ordering shirts for myself. And she's like, "Yeah, I'd like one of those shirts. They're real comfortable." I ordered it, and she goes, and my daughter says, "I don't want a shirt. I'd like a sweatshirt." So I order her a sweatshirt. Well, sweatshirt and shirt come in. Now my wife is online looking. She's like, "Now I need a sweatshirt." She's like, "These are the most comfortable sweatshirts ever." So I will share this, that if I would have known this the whole time, I would have bought all my kids and my wife Homage gear, because it's the only way I can get them to rep the Browns now is by dropping money on sweatshirts and t-shirts. But these two ladies in this house, or the three ladies in this house, are big fans of Homage, and now they're big fans of the Cleveland Browns. So Homage, kudos to you guys.
Good stuff. As I mentioned, we went to Tampa. I visited my wife's sister for a majority of it, and she wore her Homage t-shirt probably 3 out of the 5 days we were there. She loves it. I even commented on it. It's like, "Man, you're really digging that Homage shirt." She goes, "It's my favorite shirt. I wear it all the time." And she did. So
nice.
Yeah, it was good. Let's get into our first segment. Pull up the image here. The white helmets, Mikey P, just came out on social media all across Twitter, Facebook, and the Brown social media team, I think, did an excellent job. But how are you digging this helmet, dude?
Well, I went off camera just for a second because I'm actually pulling something. I feel like I'm ahead of the curve here, because I'm about to show you something here. I feel like I'm a little ahead of the curve, actually. I'm a huge fan of the white helmets. In fact, I own said white helmet and have owned it for a couple years. They actually rolled these helmets out a couple years ago. Riddle did the line. And so if you look at mine, it's a little bit different. The one that
pretty similar though, dude. Pretty similar.
It's very similar, but the striping is different. So see how this striping is brown down the middle and orange on the side? The one that they roll out today is orange down the middle with brown on the side. Has the brown face mask, of course. But these were rolled out by Riddle. They were Riddell. I'm sorry. These were called I forget what they called these. I think these were the Lunar. They called these the Lunar ones because they were all white. It's like their Lunar series. And this one is actually signed by former Cleveland Brown tight end Travis Tucker, who played during the 80s on the Schottenheimer team. He was like a key special. He was the AFC Special Teams Player of the Year one year, and he played tight end also. But a great special teams and solid tight end. A lot of those 80s teams that went to AFC championships back then. But yeah, I'm actually a little ahead of the curve. I was like, man, I actually have that helmet. I was like, it's a little bit different, but I wanted to kind of share because I thought it was cool. But I'm a huge fan of these helmets because they match perfectly, and I like that clean look.
Yeah, I like the white helmets. I like it with the uniform. I like that they're doing it for 3 games. First against the
Uniform?
Steelers, Steelers on Monday Night Football. That's a huge game for the Browns, huge game, and it's in Pittsburgh, so it's like the Browns are going to roll out this helmet with the uniforms. It's already a big game. It's Monday Night Football. Like I like that they're rolling out this helmet for that particular game, and then of course they're going to roll it out again week 6 against the 49ers at home, and then at home for the Jets Thursday Night Football week 17. So
Yeah.
you know, when they roll this out, I always look at the comments. I want to get like the temperature, the reading of the room. I didn't really see too many negative comments on this helmet. Like most people really like the helmet, and I like it too. I think it, like you said, it's clean. It looks good. They rolled it out like the Browns wore the white helmets. Like what was it, back in the 40s?
Yeah, I think till 1952, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. So
46 to 52, if I'm remembering my years right. I wasn't around back then, but I believe I remember in the lore of the historian that I am at points. I think it was 1946 to 52, if I'm not mistaken. They wore the white helmets.
yeah, I'm always a little nervous, right, when they start messing with the helmet, because that was one of the big things. Like when Jimmy Haslam bought the Browns, and he talked about all the different things he's going to do. Fans across the board, they said, "Do whatever you want, but don't mess with the helmet." Like, and I'm in total agreement of that. Like, I don't want them to mess with it permanently. That's why it's like for 3 games, I'm cool with that. I don't know that I'd want that on a permanent basis, but for this, I'm a fan of. I like it. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, and interesting enough, I didn't realize this till today. So I guess the NFL has like these rules about you can wear alternates up to 3 times a year. So for everyone that is listening, this means that the Browns will not be able to wear the color rush jerseys this year because they are also considered an alternate jersey. So the 3 alternate games you're allowed to wear them, and it's not just the Browns this year that are doing 3 of these alternate games. There's going to be a lot of teams doing this. I think the Eagles are bringing out the Kelly Green jerseys this year for 3 games. I know the Seattle Seahawks are unveiling their throwbacks to their 90s Seahawks blue jerseys tomorrow. I saw the Vikings revealed their throwbacks today. There's a lot of teams going with this throwback, and it's like I tell everybody. I mean, people don't like the New Jersey combinations. Like they try to get like flashy. Like, do you remember the Browns when they came out like in 2013? We came out with those new jerseys, and people are like, "Oh, these are gonna be cool." And then when they came out, you're like, "What are these abominations?" People love the throwbacks. It's good to have clean looking jerseys like that. That clean look with the piping down the side, the good striping, the striping in the socks. I think that look just looks so clean. I think the Titans are going to be wearing the Tennessee Oiler jerseys this year for a handful of games too. So there's a lot of teams cashing in on the throwbacks this year for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's one. I was drawn to the Browns for many reasons, but one of the reasons why is because they're not into the flash. You know what I mean? Like the logos, like they're just like, it's a uniform, it's an orange helmet. We don't need cheerleaders, like we don't need all the lights, the smoke. Like we're just going to go out there and play football. And that's one of the things I fell in love with when I was a kid.
Right.
With the Cleveland Browns, and I've always loved their helmet, as plain as it is. And all my friends, they don't understand, like, why do you like the Browns helmet? It's so blah, but I just love it. Like I've loved it since I can remember. And I'm a big fan of the orange helmet. There's no greater fan than I. I'm sure there's a lot of people like that, but I am looking forward to this white helmet for the 3 games. And man, if they win all 3, watch out, let's roll it again next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see him in action. I like these throwback looks. Like it brings me back to when like football was football. Like the clean uniform look. I told you I'm a huge fan of it. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of was how many Bengals fans came out of the woodwork. And we're talking about, the Browns are trying to be like the Bengals, stealing our look. And it's like, sometimes I want to tell people, like, just take a moment, like let's learn history for just a moment. Like, these are throwbacks to 1946. The Bengals didn't exist until what, the late 60s, I think early 70s.
Yeah, the 60s.
Yeah. And their look came from the Cleveland Browns because Paul Brown was so irritated that those were the colors he liked. And he came up with those colors actually back from the high school team that he actually coached. The high school team actually had the same color scheme. So that's kind of where the colors came from when he went to the Browns and then he went to the Bengals. But it's just to hear Bengals fans, it's like it's that Generation Z, man. Like they don't understand history. It's almost like we don't have Wikipedia that you can reference or find historical information or Google anything to find out the information. So to the Bengals fans that were saying that, kick rocks. Let me know when you guys build an airport in your actual sense in your actual city, other than because you know that, right? When you fly into the airport to go to a Bengals game, you're flying into Kentucky, not Cincinnati. The airport literally sits in Kentucky.
Yes.
They don't even have their own airport.
Oh, a lot of young fans and even players don't realize the history between the Browns and the Ravens. Like they don't even know all that. So for them to know that, the Browns wore white helmets back in the in the 40s, they thought the Bengals came up with it first, and that's
it's so bad.
Did you see the kind of the back and forth between the Browns social media and the Bengals social media?
Yeah, I did.
Pretty
I'm just
good.
gonna leave this here.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I like it.
It's funny when those guys do that. It's funny to have fun with it, and then you have those other fans, and they're talking about like the Browns have. It's funny to hear Bengals fans say the Browns have no Super Bowls. I'm like, the Bengals don't have any Super Bowls here, but at least the Browns have championships. Like they've won championships before.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that chaps me is when people don't realize that the NFL championship is what the Super Bowl used to be called. So they act like these NFL championships don't exist, but they have no idea that the Green Bay Packers are called Titletown not because of the amount of Super Bowls they won. It's the amount of Super Bowls and NFL championships they won. That's where the name Titletown came from. Like it just it grinds my gears.
Yeah. Wow. Good stuff, man. Yeah, I think most are looking forward to this. It looks good. Can't wait. Steelers week 2, Monday Night Football, and then against the 49ers. Like that's going to be – put the uniforms aside, like that's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good one right there. And then, of course, the Jets week 17. Good gosh. I mean, you're talking about playoff positioning probably for both clubs, so that's going to be a big game as well. So we're excited about that. Let's move on to I want to kind of go back to the Joe Thomas thing. Me and you are both huge Joe Thomas fans. A lot of Browns fans are. I mean, he's Cleveland, man, right? Joe Thomas. I remember when he first got drafted by the Browns, and my dad loves this story. A lot of people, when they get drafted, they go to the draft. A lot of the players, they go to the draft, they get their names called, they go up on stage. Now, Joe Thomas knew that he was going to go like number 1, definitely top 3. I don't know that he knew definitely number 1, but definitely like top 3. He was the top of the picks there. And instead of going to the draft, where did he go? He was fishing with his dad. Like, I just love that. That's just Joe Thomas-esque right there, fishing with his dad during draft day. And then cell phones were kind of a thing. I'm sure before he got off the boat, he knew he was drafted by the Browns, but just what a journey that Joe Thomas had with the Cleveland Browns. And I respect him for so many things. And one of the things I just respect him for is he could have especially in this day and age of free agency. Like, for him to stay with the Browns his whole career is phenomenal. Like, you don't see that anymore. And I respect the hell out of him for sticking with the Cleveland Browns during the toughest, right? Those were the toughest years to be a Browns fan. And I can only imagine even playing for the Browns. But Joe Thomas, man, 10 Pro Bowls, right? I mean, he made the Pro Bowl every year he was in the NFL, that he has the consecutive snaps record. Like, just first class all the way. So when I heard that he was getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, I called my dad and I said, man, we've got to go there, you know? So that's the whole reason why we're planning this trip, is for this man, number 73. But just wanted to spend a little time. Mikey, I know that you've been a big fan of his. You're meeting him. I'm jealous. You're meeting him later on in August. But if you have just a couple words to say for the man, the Hall of Fame, the HOF, Joe Thomas.
I think what resonates with people of Cleveland and people who are fans of the Browns is that Joe Thomas is the super humble, funny, down to earth type of guy. Like, when you see Joe Thomas, like, you're like, if you ran into that guy, and even if he wasn't a football player, like, take the football player away from him. If you met that guy out in a bar somewhere and you struck up a conversation and had a beer with him, just seems like a really cool dude to have a conversation with, just in general. The football side is an extra, but it's really cool that, you know, it's been a while since we've had a Browns player inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, so it's awesome to see that, a first ballot guy. The Browns are playing in the preseason at the Hall of Fame game this year, so you have that extra adage. I think it's just really awesome, and the dude is just super humble, down to earth, funny guy. Love to have a beer with him if I ever could. But, you know, in the other breath, you know, I'm sad that, you know, he never got to experience, you know, the playoffs. He never went to the playoffs, you know, unfortunately. That's the only bad part of his career. But, I mean, the guy had a consecutive snap streak, perennial Pro Bowler every year. Like, you could almost start the season and write him in as a Pro Bowl almost every year. So it's just awesome to see he'll be able to celebrate that and celebrate that time with his family. I know that's going to be special with him. And I'm going to predict it now. I'm going to say Joe cries on stage.
Yeah, I think you will too. Yeah. I'm almost starting to cry just even thinking about it, man. I mean, you had some good words there, Mikey P. He's just a great, humble guy, and he's a Cleveland guy. He's a lunch pail guy, you know, bring your lunch pail to work type guy. It's just awesome, man. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame here in just a couple short weeks. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you saw him in a bar, you know, put football aside, he's just a fun-loving guy that you would just love to have a beer with. And I remember towards the end of his career, you'd see videos going across Twitter and across Facebook, but he was a locker room guy, and he was having fun in the locker room. And I remember he would follow, I forget what he called it, but he would follow around players and interview them, you know, with a microphone, and I don't know who was holding the camera, but he when I saw that, I automatically knew. I was like, okay, so his next step is going to be in broadcasting, because he's very good with his words. He's good in front of a camera. Like, he's got energy to him. He's a positive guy. And I remember when I saw that, I'm like, wow, after his brilliant career in football, he's going to be in broadcasting, and he's going to love his job. And that's exactly what he did. Like, when we landed OBJ, I watched Joe Thomas on NFL Network all night talk about OBJ. Like, that's who I wanted to listen to, you know, when we landed OBJ, and it was awesome. Like, I love him in the broadcast booth as well, you know. So seeing Joe Thomas's playing career, he's in the Hall of Fame, is not the end of it. Like, we're going to see a whole new Joe Thomas for years to come, and I think he's going to do some great things with the NFL.
I'm like I said, it's awesome. I'm jealous to see induction. And you'll get to be here. But awesome thing is, you'll be, you know, from that story of Joe fishing with his dad on draft day, you'll be there and be able to share that experience with your dad.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And it's one of those things like when, 20 years from now, when someone says, what's your top 5 sports moments? It's probably going to be a top 5 moment for you. Like, it's not a Super Bowl, it's not a championship, but that'll probably be a top 5 moment for you. Like that weekend, getting to see that, because it's a once in a lifetime thing, getting to see somebody inducted in the Hall of Fame. They don't get inducted every year. So to be able to see that and to enjoy that with your dad, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to hear the stories and see the photos and stuff when you guys get back from that trip.
Yeah. You know what is in my top 5 for greatest sports moments? Can you guess? You were there.
The Guardians Yankees playoff game. It's got to be one, man. That night was epic.
Dude, it's definitely that's my top 3. I'm gonna say that's my top 3 ever, and it was because it was live, man. Like, just that stadium just erupted with that walk.
It was electric that night, like,
dude. You had your hat on inside out,
The rally cap, baby.
Sir Yacht was there.
We're with Sir Yacht dressed as Waldo.
His hat was inside out. Like, oh man, it's just, that brings a tear to my eye. But good stuff. Yeah, this trip is going to be epic, man. And I'm glad to be in that's why I wanted to stay in the city of Cleveland. Like, I was going to go to Canton, but I'm like, I don't know Canton. I've been there a couple times to the Hall of Fame, yes, but Cleveland is what I know. And, it's 50-something miles away. So what the hell, man? I'm going to stay in downtown Cleveland, watch a Guardians game, spend time with my pops, walk around the downtown area, just enjoy the restaurants, nightlife, and go to Canton and watch Joe Thomas get inducted, man. Like, I can't.
It's only a 45, 50-minute drive, so it's not that bad of a drive.
I've
done it several times.
Yeah, it'll be cool. We will hire Uber, so. We have some more. Christy Acuity is checking in, I'm guessing, because says Facebook user says, see you in Canton, and she says, thank you for the donation towards the little kids going to camp, Mikey P. The Yard Dawgs podcast, we donated a little money for the kids to go.
And they hit their goal, actually.
They did. They had a $3,000 goal, and I believe they hit that yesterday.
That's awesome.
So
good to see, man. There's a lot of kids out there that are less fortunate and don't have the money, and people don't realize this. I mean, until you have your kids in sports these days, and sports is good for kids, man. Like, it gives them structure, it gives them foundation, it gives them hope, especially if they're growing up in areas with a little less fortunate, or it's a rougher area. Like, anything you can do, man, to keep these kids from getting into trouble and get their lives, some positivity going on in their life, and seeing the enjoyment on their face. Like I can't wait to see the video and stuff when they actually get their new gear, because I'm sure these kids are it's going to be like Christmas for them, man. Like, there's nothing like getting new gear, like get a new helmet or a new uniform or new cleats, man. There's nothing. It's like that. It's like Christmas Day, or that first day of school. Like, remember that first day of school when you put your new shoes on for the first time and you're ready to rock them? It's like, there's no better feeling than that, for sure.
And your Trapper Keeper, it's like it's got the perfect Velcro. Yeah. It's all good.
Sticks really well. You really just dated us there, Jason, with the Trapper Keeper. There's probably a bunch of people like, what the hell's a Trapper Keeper?
This is the old man show, right? This is the old man show.
I love the Trapper Keeper.
Yeah. Okay, I made a mistake. It just says Facebook user, but that's actually Pete Barker. Yeah. He's going to be in Canton.
All the way from England.
Yeah, he's coming to Canton for the Hall of Fame as well. So, looking forward to sharing a beer with Pete Barker for sure, man.
Right, nice.
Yeah. So this will be a good time. Let's give a shout out to the BFO, Browns Fans Only. That's a Facebook page. They have almost 11,000 followers, like a huge Browns page. It's all positive, good stuff. Whenever I want to get some news on Facebook, I just go to BFO because it's all right there. But they're definitely doing some good things, man. What we just mentioned with raising money for the kids, and they got their goal yesterday. I think it was a $3,000 goal, so it was a big goal, and they reached it with maybe 8 days to spare. So good stuff there. Let's move into training camp. Mikey P begins July 22nd. And it runs through August 30th at the Greenbrier. And then they take a little break. They have the Hall of Fame game, and then they'll be in Berea after that. My question to you is, so this is something I've never done, and I've always wanted to do, and that's go to a training camp day. I've never been to one ever. And I know you have a couple of times. So I'm curious, man, what is it like to be at training camp, watching the Browns practice and getting ready for their season?
It's very different because obviously you see a lot of the players get mixed up. Like I think some people go to training camp and they think like it's like scrimmage games part of the day, but a lot of it is like 7-on-7 drills, passing drills, running drills, stuff like that. So it's a lot of drill based stuff. Like you'll see, maybe Group A offensive guys versus Group B defensive guys. You'll see the kickers out there kicking. You'll see the punters out there punting. They'll line up and they'll do some drills. It's pretty much you're watching a practice. So it's cool to see some of the stuff. Like I think the funnest part is like watching some of the one-on-ones between like the receivers and the corners.
Yes.
That's when you see guys get pretty it gets a little bit more intense. Obviously they're not tackling in practice. So you don't see as much intensity on the like offensive line or defensive line side. Like it's a little bit different. Those guys usually are going a little, probably about 70-80% speed. But when you get those receivers and corners, they go at each other pretty hard. So it's pretty cool to see that and see some of like the chemistries that the quarterback builds with some of those players. Like you notice that right away, like who are their go-to guys, in those types of drills, because typically those drills are going to be the situations where you're in your 2-minute offense or end of game. Like who are they going to go to? They're going to go to typically, the person they trust the most. So it's pretty cool to go to. I would say this, it's a fun experience because they have a lot of stuff you can do. Like they have the team store set up there. They usually have like these giant bobbleheads you can take pictures with. They usually have one of the like Swagger and then Swagger, whatever the new dogs. I don't know if it's Swagger Junior or Swagger the second or whatever. They usually have dogs there. They have things like if you want to adopt a dog, they have like a dog adoption tent kind of where a lot of dogs go home with people, puppies.
It's Chomps, right? Chomps.
Yeah, and you have Chomps there. They typically have a veteran, like a Hall of Fame player there. So this year, a couple of times, like when we went last year, was Webster Slaughter was there. They might have Joe Thomas at one of them this year signing autographs. So that's always cool when that happens. And it's just a fun experience to go to. I know people like I think Nick Carnes goes several times every year, so it's fun to go to. Don't expect to get a lot of autographs. Like a lot of people bring in stuff to get signed. You don't get a lot of signings anymore. If you have a kid, they will pull kids over there, and the kids will get autographs. So if you're gonna go and you want to get stuff signed, make sure you bring your kid with you. Your kid will get more access than you. So
because that's why we bring our kids, right? So we can gain something from it, not to spend
absolutely,
time.
Yeah. It's not to spend time with them because you spend time with them all the time. It's so you can get extra autographs. No, I'm just joking. But you'll see like the people that bring their kids and they're like, the kids are out on the field and they're like, no, get him. Let's get Deshaun. Like last year, Deshaun signed a bunch of stuff for kids, and that was really cool. So it's probably you get up a lot closer to like you. It's probably as close as I've been from Deshaun, and I was close to Wyatt Teller. Like I was probably 5 feet from Deshaun. Like, and I don't think I could probably get that close to him at a game. So that's pretty cool that you're basically within like you could say their name and they'll look up to you and acknowledge your existence.
Right. That is pretty.
Don't be a jerk. Just don't be a jerk. Like some people are like sign this. Like these guys are out there. Like you got to remember, training camp's in like August, so it's hot. It is hot, and they're going through like 2 days and stuff like that. So by the time practice is over, these guys just need to get hydrated and get worked on.
All right, so Mikey P, when you go to training camp in August, like what position group or player will you have your eyes on the most?
So I think I will definitely be interested in watching the receivers and Deshaun this year versus last year. I think there was a lot of inconsistencies with like learning a new offense. He had to miss time, going to different things with the NFL. I think last year was just a huge distraction for training camp. So that'll be interesting to see what the connection and the chemistry looks like, because they've been working out together a lot this off season. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like, and see some of these new guys we have in the defensive backfield, the Juan Thornhill type players that we signed, and see some of these linebackers and their drills that we have that are coming back from injury. And then I'm going to peek in on the defensive tackle group, since that was such a concern last year. I'm really interested to watch those guys play in the preseason and in training.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that I would be too, also looking at the wide receivers. I just think that, especially like right now, there's a lot of questions as to who's going to make this roster in the wide receiving room and who's not. I remember last year we had Cam Justice on the show, and she talked about training camp. She had just been to training camp, I think the day she was on our show, and she raised Mike Harley Jr., how he didn't drop anything. Like she said he didn't drop a single ball ever during the whole entire practice. And, so there's young players, like you had mentioned, that you're going to pay attention to. Last year, she had mentioned Mike Harley. Now, he wasn't a big presence during the season. He's still on the roster. It remains to be seen what happens with him. But there are players that I would definitely be looking at. Cedric Tillman, the rookie we just drafted, I definitely am excited about him. A lot of people feel like, that's going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones' replacement after this year, because we're not going to keep Cooper and DPJ after this year, more than likely. So we would want to see a player like Cedric Tillman step up to be the number 2, or possibly even move into the number 1 receiver. We don't know. I mean, he could be a dynamic receiver for us. So I would keep an eye on, a guy like that. And then definitely Deshaun Watson. Like, to me, this whole season revolves around Deshaun Watson.
Definitely.
And we saw 6 games from him last year, and it started out really ugly. He was rusty, and it progressively got better. It didn't get as good as I would have liked to have seen, but you did see flashes of the old Deshaun Watson. So this year, having a full off season, all the legal troubles are pretty much behind him. He can now focus on football. He's developing chemistry with his receivers. Some receivers, for a couple of years, he's got some new ones in the building as well. I would definitely be looking at him. So we're looking for Deshaun Watson to take big steps this year for sure, because our whole season, right? I mean, if we're just being honest, is depending on that guy right there. So.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter if it even wasn't Deshaun Watson. Everyone's season, every year. That's why they say the most important position is the quarterback position. It comes down to the quarterback. Quarterback doesn't play well, it's so very hard to win in this league. There has been anomalies where teams have had good defenses and could run the ball, and they won, a season or 2 here and there. But consistency it relies on the quarterback position. I don't know if you've watched the series on Netflix called Quarterback. It talks about Kirk Cousins, Mahomes, and Mariota. Just watching those 3 quarterbacks, though, Kansas City is who they are because of Pat Mahomes. Kirk Cousins at times is inconsistent, and you can see Minnesota has some inconsistency, and Mariota just not able to. He's a serviceable guy, but he's not a long-term solution. He's a guy that can come in and play a handful of games, and you can just watch it. And you see how important the quarterback position is. And I will tell you, after watching that documentary, Pat Mahomes is a special player. Pat Mahomes' family, super annoying. You'll learn that in the documentary. They're even more annoying than they've been.
Isn't that something we already knew?
we already knew, but the documentary even makes them look worse. Like even in a documentary, like you can kind of make them look a little better. I'm like, they're even more annoying in that. But I will say this: Pat Mahomes seems like a good dude, but that he's a ball player. That dude's a player. As long as he's there in Kansas City, they're going to be a contender every year.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list. I saw that on Netflix. It was late and I didn't want to start something new, but definitely on my list to watch that special. All right. My next question, Mikey P, is there a player that might be under the radar that you're eyeing as a surprise player to make the 53-man roster this year?
A surprise player to make the roster, I would say, because we didn't get to see him a lot last year because he got injured early in camp, was Jakeem Grant. He's a player I have my eye on because if he can give us any semblance of what he gave or has given previously in the return game as a punt returner, as a kick returner, that changes field position for us. Like, it gives the offense, if he can flip the field position battle with the return game at all, because last year we had, DPJ was serviceable. He had a return for a touchdown, but if you got a guy back there that they have to kick away from or they have to scheme against, it just changes the game and makes it so much easier on your offense. So I think Jakeem Grant's the guy I see. Like, everyone keeps saying they don't think he's going to make it as a receiver. I don't think he needs to be a receiver. He is a weapon as a receiver, though. But if he can give us anything or be that player that he was before the injury in the return game, I think for what we're paying him, a little over $1 million this year, that's going to be an immense return. So he's the one guy I really want to watch in camp.
Yeah, he's definitely a bubble player. I think if you ask 100 Browns fans if he'll make the team, I think half of them would say yes and half of them would say no. I'm sure Bubba Ventrone will be pushing to have him make the 53-man roster. And I know, Mikey P, you and I last year during this time were very excited about Jakeem Grant. I mean, we haven't had a true returner for a while, and that's what he was brought in for. Of course, he's going to help you as a wide receiver as well, but definitely he's a return specialist. So hopefully he can make this team. He should be healthy. Was it his Achilles tendon? Is that what he?
Yeah, it was an Achilles, and that's what.
Which is a tough one. That's tough.
Some guys come back and they're fine. Sometimes it takes a little time. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from injury. But
yeah,
he's that one guy. Could be a game changer on the special team side of the ball.
Yeah. Another player I'd like to mention, he's not a bubble player. He's going to make this squad, but it would be Jerome Ford. We're Kareem Hunt is going to be gone, right? He's gone. He's a free agent, right? So now we have Nick Chubb, and what can Jerome Ford do? We saw glimpses of him last year. He looks like a little mini Nick Chubb, right? When he's out there. So I'm interested to see what Jerome Ford can do because, a good running game obviously opens up the pass. Now, I know we're going to be passing a lot this year, but we're going to have a good, solid running game, especially in the AFC North, especially in November, December, and January when it's bitter cold. We've seen wind gusts where you can't even throw the ball. So, a running game is very important. And Nick Chubb, as good as he is, can't do it all on his own. He's going to need some help back there. So I'm looking at, Jerome Ford to see what he can do for this team this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Jerome Ford can do. Still think they're going to add another running back as we get in the training camp. But I'm interested to see what they do. I think running back is such a weird position these days. Like you pay your starter and then you bring in depth guys that can add value. I don't know if you saw on Twitter yesterday, a lot of the running backs were pissed off about Matt Miller's comment where he said, draft a running back, franchise tag the running back, and then when that runs out, draft a running back. Basically, so don't pay him. But along the way, I mean, if I'm thinking about that, if I keep getting franchise tag, at least I'm getting top dollar every season. But I get running backs points, like, that means when you're doing like that, you're year to year. So I don't know.
If you're injured, you're totally screwed.
Yeah, the game has just changed, and unfortunately, the running back position is what it is right now. I don't know that it'll ever come back to what it was before. Like I don't know that anyone will ever break Emmitt Smith's record.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. They didn't get their deals that they were hoping for, and the running back position just, for whatever reason, is not valued like it used to be.
It's not.
Nick Chubb was the last running back to really get paid, right? Was he? I mean, he was the last one to really get paid, and now teams just feel like they can draft a running back. Pittsburgh did it a couple of years ago, and you get that running back under a rookie deal, and if he's good, you franchise tag him. If he's, what I'm saying, these GMs are smart, and they're trying to run a team in a smart financial way, and maybe that's just the way the league's going, and it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is right now.
Mm-hmm. And just breaking news: the Cleveland Browns, Guardians, are up 7-0 in Pittsburgh.
I saw that.
Tonight, it's back-to-back nights. They've gone up 7-0. I don't remember. There was a team a couple of years ago in Cleveland that went into Pittsburgh and put up a bunch of points early too. I don't remember. I think it was a playoff game, if I recall.
What did Drew and Brick City say? They had 7 runs at 8 on 8
hits through the third.
Wow. So the bats continue.
The bats have come away. They scored what they put up. I think they put up 11 last night. Got 7 tonight.
Well, Mickey P, I'm honored, man. The Guardians are on TV, and we still have some people watching us, so this is good. I like it. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I saw this on Good Morning Football yesterday. I'm a fan of that show. I like to wake up, get my coffee brewing, and I watch that show when I can. But they said something interesting. Brian Sipe, and I didn't realize this till they said it, but I had to look it up to fact check, and it's true. Brian Sipe was the last QB to throw over 4,000 yards for the Cleveland Browns, and that happened in 1980. And that year, the Browns went on to make the playoffs, and it was the famous game against the Raiders with Red Right 88. Yep. But Brian Sipe, the last guy to do it, man.
Well, Deshaun Watson's probably going to do it this year.
Well, that's my question to you. And what do you guys think? Those that are watching us and can comment. Will Deshaun Watson throw for over 4,000 yards in 2023? Mikey P, you think he's going to do it?
I think he'll end up throwing for 4,000 yards. I just think the way the offense is trending and the way it's set up, I think he'll throw for 4,000 if I had to guess.
Baker Mayfield came close. He's like 38. He was like 150 yards short. It was like 38.50 or something like that in 2019, which was a great year for Baker Mayfield. Deshaun Watson, can he throw for 4,000 yards? I think he can. Especially like we're hearing Kevin Stefanski say that, he's putting more trust in Deshaun Watson. And he's going to throw it for possibly 40 times a game. And man, if you throw for 40 times a game and you're on, you're going to throw for, that's like 4,000 yards plus seasons if you're successful at it. Right. That's why I say it all hinges on Deshaun Watson. But if he goes out there and throws for 40 times a game and his completion percentage is up and, our receivers are catching the ball, he's going to throw for over 4,000 yards. It's going to be a great season for him. And that's what we're all hoping for. The question is, will he do it? And I'm in agreement with you, Mikey P. I think he will. I think this year will be the first time since 1980. How many years ago was that? That was 43 years ago. That's a long time, man. It's a long time, bro, to not throw for 4,000 yards.
So that's a while.
That's a while. I think he could do it for sure.
Definitely could.
What do you guys think? Go ahead and comment on that. Brian Sipe, yeah, man, he's the last one. I actually met Brian Sipe. It was my first Browns backers luncheon. My dad took me to. He's a big Browns backers supporter. He's always been involved with the club, and this was in Southern California. He took me to a luncheon, and he said Brian Sipe's going to be there. So I was like all pumped. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. And so we met Brian Sipe, and he gave a little speech, and then we all got pictures taken with him, kind of like the Hanford Dixon thing at the Tidewater Browns backers. It was a really cool day. I had my Polaroid camera, and I took a picture of him with my dad. So that was fun. I'll share that picture with you after this show. But
Cool.
Yeah, but Brian Sipe. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Mikey P, if you'll give us our plug for YouTube, that'd be great.
Well, YouTube, and don't forget about Discord.
Do Discord. Yeah, let's do that's new. Let's do Discord.
Well, of course, with YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us. It helps us grow the show. Helps us become bigger and better. So we appreciate everyone that follows the show. If you got friends, family that want to help out and follow the show, and you send them our way, we'd love it. And don't forget, we just started a Network 216 Discord. We post all rumors there. You'll have Cavs, Browns, Buckeyes, guards, rumors, and more, along with exclusive giveaways and all our sports bets of the day. So basically, you can get into the Discord. You can subscribe to the Discord for either $10 a month, or for the better deal, you can do $100 a year. But you can subscribe to all the sports betting. Like I'm going to share. I've been following and doing some of the bets that some of the guys have been doing, and I've won some money myself. So I would say it's definitely worth it for the sports betting, for the rumors we're going to be breaking in as we get into the season, for all the content. Discord is cool, and I would say download the app, check it out. We'd love to have you on there and interact with you.
All right. So, and for guys like MC Lawrence, I'm with you, MC Lawrence. Like I had no idea what Discord was. So Mikey P, is it easy, man, to download the app? Like how do you do that?
Very, very easy to download the app. It's got all the titles on the side. So like when you're looking at on the left-hand side, it shows you like, this is a general chat. This is for announcements, giveaways, NFL general. Like it breaks it down for you. It's almost like it looks like Outlook a little bit, like Microsoft Outlook. And it breaks it down. You can go in there and chat it up with whoever's talking about it. Tons of stuff in there. And you can chat with all the guys on the network. So it's not just us on the show that are in there. It's all the guys on the network in there, our sports betting guys. We have a great Cavs show that's been rolling out. He puts out some amazing content, and with the Cavs Summer League coming up, like I would check it out. We have Petty Eddie's is in there. The guys from Dog Chug are in there. The guys from the Faithful Dogs are in there. Like the guys from the Barking Browns, who are actually coming up in a couple minutes after us tonight with Nick Cons and Jacob Roach. But some great stuff. And as the season, this will be it's better than Twitter because everything is generalized. So you don't have to sit there and scroll through Twitter. So I definitely encourage you to check Discord out, and love to interact with you if we can.
Awesome. And to subscribe, remind the folks again, how do they do that?
Download the app for Discord, and then you just go in. You can subscribe, and then you can join and become a member. Like I said, it's Discord only charges. It's $10. You can either do $10 a month or $100 a year.
And with all the great bets, I mean, you'll make that back.
With the betting alone, you make that back. With the giveaways, you're going to be eligible for. We're going to have some great homage giveaways this year, and some awesome stuff to give away. So can't wait to have fun this football season, and share it all with you guys. And like I said, keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys there. And look, we don't at the end of the day, we don't do this for the financial gain of anything. No. We do this because we love the Cleveland Browns. We love engaging and talking to other fans. Like there's nothing better. And we all have tough jobs and we have tough things to do in life, but it's awesome to be able to come in here and share experiences with you guys and and have the engagement. And I hope that we can share some Brown success together this year.
That's right. And, and there's a lot of great minds that I look up to with Network 216. Obviously, Mikey P, I love you. I love Coltrane, who couldn't be. I don't think we mentioned that. Coltrane couldn't be here tonight. He wanted to, but his work schedule didn't allow it, and he promises he'll be back better than ever next week. So Coltrane is probably sleeping right now, but if you're listening to this later on, or if you're listening to it right now, we miss you and we love you. But obviously I love you guys, but with Network 216, man, Jacob Roach, he puts out excellent content on Browns players, where he ranks them, their strong suits. Like he digs into the 53-man roster. Tyler Johnson, another great mind with football. Like they know the Cleveland Browns. Nick Carnes gives always good, positive stuff. There's just there's a wide variety of guys at Network 216. And then the shows, like the variety of shows, like we're known as the old man show because we're like the old mans in the group. But then you got guys like the Dog Chug who are hilarious. And you were on that show, or are you?
Fun time. It was a fun time. In fact, Dog Chug will be tomorrow, Wednesday night. Barking Browns are actually Thursday night this week. My bad. I'm sorry. They're Thursday night this week, and fun times with good dudes. And we all have one common goal. We just want to see the Browns win games. That's all we want. We want our teams to win.
Yeah. We've been waiting a long time, Mikey P.
Yeah. Don't take anything we ever say personal. Some of us are passionate. Some of us are a little bit more passionate than others. But we just want to, as the great Al Davis said, we just want to win, baby.
Just win, baby. Well, next week we have an action-packed show. We're going to dig into the schedule a little bit. We'll probably talk about some more training camp stuff. We're going to talk about our year-long bet. We're going to predict the AFC North. So make sure you tune in next week on the Yard Dawgs podcast. We have to sign off, though, but thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Pete Barker just commented, great show, great content. Time to get some more Robo Pete on your show. Yes, Pete.
Yes.
Come on the show, man. We would love to have you on. Maybe, just maybe after the Hall of Fame weekend, maybe Pete Barker and I can both be on the show together to talk about our different experiences of the weekend. How about that?
Very nice.
We can maybe schedule that after the Hall of Fame weekend. So other than that, Mikey P, find him on Twitter at Mikey P422. My name's Jason Hand. You can find me on Twitter at Browns Huddle. This has been a great time. We like to end all of our shows with the Go Browns. So Mikey P, if you'll join me on the count of three. There you go with that white helmet. I love it. I love it. Week 2 Steelers, baby. Monday night. We're going to see it. Mikey P, if you'll join me. 1, 2, 3. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
See you next week. Love you guys.